You want to bend the world in your favor? Then stop waiting for it to serve you first. This is the fatal flaw of the entitled. They want loyalty before they've proven trust. They want love before they've given respect. They want help, support, applause, before they've lifted a single hand in service. But the truth is this: if you want power, real power, you must make the first move. Every time. No matter who you are. No matter how you feel. Because influence is not born from command. It's born from contribution. You don't manipulate people to follow you. You earn the right by giving before you're asked. You build a fortress of goodwill, brick by brick, favor by favor. And when the storm hits, that fortress protects you. But most, they try to reverse it. They give only when they want something. They help with a hidden hand, fingers crossed behind their back. They don't serve, they scheme. And they wonder why no one shows up for them when it counts. You want people to move when you speak? Then make deposits before the crisis. Serve before you're served. Help before you're helped. Be the first to show up and the last to walk away. Because power flows to those who've already proven they don't need to beg for it. But let me be clear. This isn't about being soft. This isn't about becoming a doormat. No. This is about strategic generosity. This is about building a silent army long before the war begins. This is about creating a network of warriors who remember how you made them feel when no one else gave a damn. You want loyalty? Then be the kind of person worth being loyal to. You want an army behind you? Then stop acting like a tyrant at the top of a crumbling throne. Get in the trenches. Get your hands dirty. Pay the cost without expecting repayment. And one day, you'll look back and realize you've become unstoppable. Not because you demanded power, but because you planted it. But be warned, the impatient destroy this gift. They give, then demand. They serve, then scorekeep. They do one good deed and expect the universe to kneel. No. The real ones? They give with no timeline. They plant seeds they may never see bloom. And because of that, the harvest always returns tenfold. So ask yourself, how many people are ready to run into battle for you right now? How many would answer your call? If the answer is none, don't blame them. Build them. Start today. Do something for someone. No motive. No angle. No applause. Just power, disguised as kindness. Because the world doesn't move for the selfish. It moves for the strategic servant. And when you live this way long enough, when you master the law of contribution, you won't need to ask. They'll come. They'll fight. They'll follow. And you'll realize you became powerful the moment you stopped chasing power and started giving it away. The average man gives what he's paid for. The average soul delivers what's expected. The average mind settles for the bare minimum and dies wondering why they never stood out. But you were never born to be average. And if you want to rise, not just survive, but dominate, you must learn the secret weapon of the relentless. Go the extra mile. Not sometimes. Not when eyes are watching. Not when applause is guaranteed. But every single time. Because the world keeps its riches locked behind invisible doors. And those doors only open to those who run past the finish line like it never existed. But most don't get it. They think effort is enough. They think doing their job is noble. No. Doing your job is survival. Doing more than your job, that's legacy. You want to lead armies? Then sweep the floors when no one's watching. You want to become unforgettable? Then give twice the value when no one asked. Not because you're weak, but because you're 10 steps ahead. Because when everyone else is counting down the minutes, you're building an empire no one sees yet. You want to create leverage? Go the extra mile when no one's keeping score. Because one day, you'll cash in that surplus of goodwill. And while others beg for crumbs, you'll feast on doors they never even knew existed. But let me warn you, there are two kinds of people who go the extra mile. The pretenders, who serve for manipulation, and the warriors, who serve for principle. The pretender gives with a timer. They help just long enough to be owed something in return. They serve and then demand. They'll remind you what they did every chance they get. But the warrior gives and disappears. They don't keep track. They don't demand repayment. Because their currency isn't approval, it's mastery. They do it for who they become, not what they'll get. And ironically, they get everything. This principle, this law of the extra mile, is the hinge that swings open the gates of destiny. Every legend that ever walked this earth knew it. And whether they called it by name or not, they lived it. Because, here's the dark truth. Most people are blind to greatness, even when it stares them in the face. But the moment you start doing what others refuse to, they'll feel your difference, even if they don't know why. And when they need someone to call on, when the world starts to fall apart, when opportunity finally whispers, they'll remember the one who always went further. So ask yourself now, what would happen if you lived like that? If every task was done with invisible fire? If every moment was your chance to build unbreakable equity in yourself? Would you still wait to be asked? Would you still whine about being overlooked? Or would you wake up and realize the crown doesn't go to the most talented, it goes to the most committed? So from this moment forward, don't just do what you're paid for, do what you're made for. When others clock out, stay in. When others rest, rise. When others fold, press. And while they live in cycles of mediocrity, you'll live in the compound effect of discipline, effort, and unseen excellence. Because the world bows, not to the loudest, but to the one who walks the extra mile like it's the only road that exists. You were wronged. They betrayed you, lied to you, stabbed you in the back and smiled while they twisted the blade. And deep down, you want justice. You want them to feel what you felt, to hurt like you hurt, to bleed for what they did. But here's the truth they won't tell you. The moment you desire revenge, you've already lost. Because revenge is not power. It is weakness dressed in rage. It's the illusion of strength that quietly rots the soul of the one who craves it. They wounded you once. But when you carry revenge in your heart, you reopen the wound every day. You keep bleeding, not because of them, but because of you. Understand this. Revenge does not heal. It infects. It poisons your mind. It turns your focus inward, into a prison where you become obsessed with pain, consumed by shadows, enslaved by what they did, instead of what you can do. You think revenge will free you? No. It chains you to your enemy. It makes you a mirror of the very thing you hate. And the longer you cling to it, the more it becomes your identity. You don't become dangerous by looking backward. You become dangerous by rising so far above their pettiness that they can't even reach you anymore. Let them stay in the dirt. Let them drown in their own venom. You don't get even. You get elevated. Let your transformation be their punishment. Let your silence be the blade. Let your success scream louder than vengeance ever could. Because there's a difference between a warrior and a wild beast. The beast reacts, strikes blindly, dies early. The warrior calculates, waits, and in that stillness becomes untouchable. You want power? Then cleanse your mind of the poison. You want peace? Then cut the cord that ties you to those who hurt you. You want freedom? Then stop feeding your mind fantasies of their destruction. Because every moment you spend fantasizing about revenge is a moment they still own you. No more. Don't burn your life trying to burn them. Let them watch as you rise through discipline, purpose, and unshakable self-control. Let them choke on your silence. Let them crumble under the weight of your growth. Because revenge is temporary. But transcendence, that's eternal. And when you finally rise to the heights you were born for, you'll look down at your past and realize something terrifyingly beautiful. They were never worth your fire. And now, they don't even exist in your world. You say you need it. You say you want it. You feel it burning in your chest like the hunger will consume you if you don't get it now. But here's the cold truth. Just because you need something doesn't mean you've earned it. Need does not equal entitlement. And in this world, there is no mercy for those who confuse desperation with deserving. That's the delusion of the weak. To think that pain justifies possession. To think that struggle earns reward. To think that wanting something badly enough means the universe owes you a shortcut. No, the world doesn't bend to need. It bows to worthiness. And worthiness isn't declared, it's proven. It's not about how loud you cry or how long you've suffered. It's about what you've built from the wreckage, what you've done despite your wounds. Because there are people just like you, starving for a better life, bleeding from betrayal, choking on disappointment. And yet they refuse to steal what they haven't earned. They refuse to manipulate. They refuse to cut corners. Why? Because there's a difference between claiming your throne and breaking into the palace. Need tells you to take. Honor demands you build. And when you choose honor, the world may not give you what you want immediately, but what you receive will be yours in full, undeniable, unshakable, unstolen. But if you cheat, if you take before you're ready, if you snatch what isn't yours simply because your heart aches for it, you'll never hold it with peace. You'll live with eyes over your shoulder. You'll sleep beside guilt, because deep down, you'll know it was never yours to begin with. You may need love, but do you give it freely? You may need wealth, but do you offer value before demanding reward? You may need respect, but have you mastered discipline, consistency, and truth, the only things that command it? If the answer is no, then you're not starving. You're spoiled. And the punishment of the spoiled is to never feel full, no matter how much they take. You want to feel proud when you look in the mirror? Then stop crying over what you don't have and start building what you haven't earned yet. You want to live without fear? Then walk the harder road, the one paved with restraint, with patience, with principle. And when the rewards do come, they will not haunt you. They will not rot in your hands. They will feel clean, because you didn't steal them. You became them. Let the desperate take shortcuts. Let the entitled cheat their way to dust. But you'll forge your path through fire. And when you arrive, no one will ever say it wasn't yours to claim. Everyone wants to be trusted. Everyone wants to be counted on. But most can't even keep a promise to themselves. They talk like warriors. They show up when it's convenient. They play the part when the pressure is low. But when it matters, when storms hit, when backs are against walls, when the stakes are high, they vanish. They melt. They fold. Because dependability isn't built in peace. It's forged in chaos. It's not about being there when it's easy. It's about being unshakable when it's not. You say you're dependable? Then let's test it. Are you consistent when no one's watching? Are you disciplined when there's no reward? Do you show up for people after they stop showing up for you? Or do you fall back into the shadows the moment things stop benefiting you? Most people wear dependability like a costume. They want the image of loyalty without the burden of sacrifice. But true dependability is heavy. It demands your energy, your pride, your sleep, your excuses. Because being dependable doesn't just mean being there for others. It means being anchored in who you are, rooted so deeply in principle that nothing, no betrayal, no pressure, no pain, can knock you off course. You want people to trust you? Then become the kind of person who doesn't need to be reminded, doesn't need to be praised, doesn't need to be begged. Be the one who shows up anyway. Be the one who answers the call at midnight. The one who holds the line when everyone else drops it. The one who says, I gave my word, and means it, even when it costs. Because in a world of broken promises and temporary alliances, a dependable soul is a weapon. You become irreplaceable. You become feared, not for your wrath, but for your consistency. Because no one can compete with someone who is always there. But dependability starts with one thing: self-integrity. You don't build it by showing up for others. You build it by showing up for yourself. You said you'd train today. Did you? You said you'd stay focused. Did you? You said you'd stop making excuses. Are you still lying? Because if you can't trust your own word, no one else ever will. You want to be rare? Be consistent in a world of flakes. Be honest in a world of liars. Be there when it counts. Every damn time. Because when you're truly dependable, your presence becomes a promise. Your silence becomes a statement. And your name becomes sacred. Let others flake. Let them waver. Let them be predictable in their inconsistency. You become the rock in the storm, the unmovable soul, the one who can be counted on when gods fall and kingdoms crumble. That is power. That is dependability. You want the lifestyle, the income, the freedom, the admiration. You want the throne, but you don't want the armor. You don't want the weight. You don't want the responsibility. You want to get, but not to earn. You want to receive, but not to carry. And that's why you'll never become what you were born to be. Because this world doesn't give crowns to those who want. It gives them to those who withstand. To those who are willing to bleed for what they demand from life. To those who step up and say, give me the weight. I'll carry it. But most, they collapse under invisible burdens. They chase rewards while avoiding responsibility. They want to climb, but don't want to sweat. They want to speak, but never lead. They want to own, but never be accountable. You want the mansion, the car, the empire. Then you better be willing to show up when everything breaks. You better be willing to take the hit when others fail. You better be prepared to lead when chaos is all that's left. Because responsibility is not a punishment. It's a privilege. It's a mark of power. And if you run from it, You run from your own evolution. The weak blame the system, blame the boss, blame their parents, blame the market, blame timing. But warriors, they don't flinch. They stand up, look the storm in the face and say, "This is on me." All of it. No excuses, no deflection, no crying about fairness. Because life doesn't reward fairness. It rewards fortitude. You want more income? Then increase the weight you can carry. You want more influence? Then raise your capacity to take the heat. You want the good things in life? Then earn the right to hold them without collapsing. And here's the paradox: they won't teach you. The heavier the responsibility, the lighter your soul becomes. Because you start to walk with purpose. You start to lead with clarity. You stop blaming. You start becoming. That's when the world starts to shift. That's when doors open without knocking. That's when you stop asking for permission. Because you embody the authority. But if you can't carry the pressure, you'll never hold the prize. So the next time life hands you a burden, the next time you feel the weight of what you asked for, don't shrink. Don't panic. Stand up. Take it. Because the weight isn't there to break you. It's there to make you worthy. Let the cowards dodge it. Let the weak whine. Let the lazy dream. But you were made to carry the fire, to lift what others can't, to become what others fear. Responsibility isn't your enemy. It's your rite of passage. And only those who accept it will ever know what it means to rule themselves. To every returning GrimFace warrior, thank you. Your discipline, your hunger, your refusal to break. It fuels this movement. Every time you show up, you sharpen the blade not just for yourself, but for every soul walking this brutal path beside you. And to those just now hearing this voice, if something in your chest ignited tonight, if the fire inside you stirred, that wasn't an accident. You were meant to find this. Because this isn't just content. It's a code. A call to rise. To train. To reject weakness and reclaim your edge. Join the GrimFace movement. Subscribe. Lock in. Because we're building more than warriors. We're building a new breed. One forged in fire, led by purpose, and untouchable by the world's distractions. And we're just getting started.